sitting here trying my hardest to do this car review. And when I tell you this camera is fogging up, I mean it's super foggy. And it ain't that much fog in the world for this camera to be acting so foggy. Like, I don't get it. What's the problem? What is the problem? But what up? We back out here for another one. And you've already seen the thumbnail, so let's just get right to it. It's actually a 2023 Volkswagen Atlas. Didn't have any 7-passenger vehicles available, so they were going to give me a Chrysler Pacifica, a minivan. Yeah, I was kind of like, nah, I'm good. I don't want a minivan to drive around in. So I saw they had this, and I was like, well, what about the Volkswagen? Is that available? And it's a 5-passenger vehicle. I always thought these were 7 passengers, but I also realized this is the sport edition of the Volkswagen Atlas. So this one is a 5-passenger. I personally never thought about a Volkswagen as a car. I never thought about purchasing a Volkswagen. Like, that was just never on my radar. But I will admit, after having this thing for the weekend, I may have to add it to my list of future vehicles to think about. I don't know if they're reliable or unreliable. Like, I don't know too many people who has Volkswagens, and I don't really hear too many people talk about them. For some odd reason, I was confusing Volkswagen and Volvo. I don't know, it's just my brain. But those are obviously 2 different cars. This one doesn't have a 3rd row seat, and it actually has like the little scoop. It's like it kind of scoops down in the back. And I was wondering why this one looked different than some of the other Atlases I had been seeing on the road. But I now realize this is the smaller version of it, which I think is actually okay. I mean, it's really not that bad. And this right here is the rear of the vehicle. The one thing I do like about some of these is it's got the huge tail light that goes all the way across the back. And at night, it actually looks pretty good. I will also say, at night, this entire emblem lights up also. And this whole back end lights up. Maybe they redesigned these, or maybe just this version that I have looks this way. But I saw some other ones that I'm assuming may have been older, but I didn't really like the front end on those. First, to me, it looked a little too plain. But once I saw some other ones that's got like the chrome, the entire front end is chrome, I personally don't like that chrome look anymore. These right here, I mean, these here are the daytime running lights. But this right here, this whole thing across here is also a light. And even this emblem right here lights up at night. So I just did the auto start, and I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, that's all illuminated. The front end at the top up here is all illuminated. That back part, that bottom part there isn't illuminated, but that whole top around the lights and even the Volkswagen sign itself is illuminated. It's a lot easier to see it at night. At first, it looked a little weird to me. And I'm like, man, this thing has too many lights on the front of it. But I kind of got used to it and was like, you know what, that don't look too bad. It actually makes it kind of look a little interesting. And it just seems like everybody's trying to have like Cybertruck headlights, if you ask me. Oh yeah, it definitely has a nice big bold grille. I mean, this whole front end is a grille. Got a big Volkswagen emblem. This one doesn't feature fog lights, which maybe I've seen some with fog lights, maybe not. I'm not sure what size these wheels are. The R20, so these are actually 20-inch wheels. Back in the day, when the big timers used to rap about 20-inch wheels, they looked huge. But now, these are the 20s, and they actually look kind of small. So this is the interior, which it actually has very nice seats. Like, these seats have like an interesting pattern on them. But overall, very nice, very comfortable seats. Ton of cup holders and a ton of space to throw all type of stuff. This is just something I was using to wipe down the vehicle with. That's another spot you have to store a lot of stuff. You can see down there, you can store things. You know, even the center console is a decent size. Whenever I'm dealing with a vehicle that has space to store stuff, I always feel like, oh yeah, this is a good road trip vehicle. And then here is the interior. I mean, this whole thing is all digital. There's really nothing too fancy in here. For some reason, whenever you get inside, I guess it shows the analog clock and it actually has the date on it and all that type of stuff, which is all right. When you start this thing, It doesn't actually do anything too fancy, so let's get it started. Now, you know, it's 2020, this is a 2023, and we're in the year 2024, and all vehicles have push to start. But when I first got in this, I'm looking for the button to start the vehicle, and I'm like, what the heck? How do you start this thing? And, you know, Volkswagen tried to be different, so they put the button right here. So this right here is your push to start button. And so, yeah, we get it started, but it doesn't do anything real fancy. I mean, it's like, it didn't have no big fanfare, no fancy stuff on the dashboard that tells you that you're in a Volvo. By pushing this button again, it does that. So whatever that's worth, it kind of reminds you of the vehicle you're in. So that's kind of interesting. The one thing that low-key annoyed me about this vehicle, it literally has like no buttons. Like, I get in here to try to turn on the radio. I get in here to try to turn on the AC. There are no buttons. And I'm not sure who designed it this way, but there are just no buttons. Like, no buttons to turn stuff on, no knobs to twist things. Really, you have to control a lot of stuff. And actually, let me start it again. This is the only button it has, is the push to start button. But there's literally like no buttons. And so I got confused when I first got in here. I still struggle with turning up and down the radio, which it has it right here on the steering wheel, but that's still an annoying spot for it. I'm used to having some type of button. I'm used to being able to push something to turn things up and down. And it took me a while, but I realized a lot of the buttons are down here. So in order to control the air condition, you push this button down here, and then everything is touchscreen, which I'm afraid of that type of stuff. Like, I don't like a vehicle where it doesn't have good old-fashioned buttons. Like, what if this screen malfunctions? Then all of a sudden, I don't have no control over anything. So that kind of scares me with these type of vehicles. And then this dashboard here, but it also feels like it's made cheap, because look at that. You can push this, and it just seems like it kind of malfunctions a little bit. And I was just like, wow, I was very surprised. I was actually surprised you could even touch this thing, but I didn't think by pushing it. You see the little weird stuff it does? I'm not sure what that's about, but that's just weird to me. You know, it has different modes. So just like a lot of vehicles, when you change the modes, it just kind of has different illustrations and changes to different pictures and things like that. So, you know, that's all right and that's cool. Now, another thing I must say, this vehicle has the absolute worst sound system I've ever experienced in my life. Like, I have never been in a vehicle. I thought that the Dodge Challengers had a horrible sound system, but this vehicle here beats the cake. It's like you literally will turn up the volume halfway. It has a whole extra bar that you think, or like you turn it up halfway, it shows it has this much to get to the full volume. And basically, once you get to the halfway point, that's as high as it goes, no matter how high you try to turn it up. And I even got to the point where I decided to Google the sound system in these Volkswagen Atlases, and I found a thread online of multiple people complaining about how horrible the sound system in this vehicle is. And I truly can't believe it. I'm like, there's no way they built, and which I think is a pretty nice vehicle, there's no way they built a vehicle like this with such a horrible sound system. Like, I couldn't believe it. Even right now talking about it, I was amazed, and I had to make sure I bring that up on the video, that the sound system in this thing absolutely sucks. And another little thing about this vehicle that I was kind of upset about, it has the USB-C cables. So, like, it doesn't have an old-fashioned cigarette lighter outlet. And I had to literally go out and buy a USB-C to USB-C in order to work it in here. Now, I will admit, this does charge a lot faster than the normal plug, but I still just could not believe that this vehicle does not have, like, you know, just doesn't have a normal cell phone charging plug. Like, I was very disappointed in that. And then another thing, too, is all the controls are right here. So in order to drive, reverse, neutral is all here. To put it in park, you actually hit this button here. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is, but I feel like that's an interesting place that they put this. And then, of course, it has the standard cup holders, but there's nothing like in this one. Oh, actually, you know what? I just lied. Okay, so that's how you do that. I didn't realize this had a way to cover that part up. But I'm also just surprised that there's nothing to cover up the cup holders or things like that. But, you know, at the same time, you don't really need that. And maybe I'm just spoiled because in my car I have covers that cover all that stuff up. But in this vehicle, they do not. All right, so now let's get into the back seat to test the back seat. I don't know if the regular Atlas is short like this one or if this one is so much shorter because it's the Sport Edition. But yeah, it's a little short, but still not that bad. And I will say, this back seat, very comfortable. Like, my God, like, you know, as most of you know, I'm 6'2". Right now, I was just in the front seat and I had the seat back as far as it can go. And now I'm here in the back seat, and the amount of space this thing has, very nice. Like, honestly, with all its problems, the amount of space it feels like it has, that's what makes me feel like I wouldn't mind a vehicle like this. And also it's funny because it has this little screen thing here. You know, I call it the dog window or whatever, which goes like that, which I kind of get afraid of these type of things because I feel like eventually that crap is going to break. But, you know, it's just a little shade. And so this is a view of the vehicle. This is a view of the front from the back. And back here, once again, it has outlets only for USB-C. So if you don't have a USB-C, you can't do it. Now, it does have a normal plug. So it does have this type of normal plug. And I was actually using that to charge my batteries for my camera as I went to different events this past weekend. You know, also has some AC vents back here. But I do now realize from sitting back here, there's no way to control the AC or the radio or anything for the people in the back. All they get to do is enjoy some nice cool air, which is fine. But yeah, overall, this rear seat isn't too bad. Like, it's a whole lot of space. And once again, a lot of space to hold stuff. A lot of space to put things, you know. There's a cup holder right here if you don't have a third person. And as I was saying earlier, this is the Atlas, and I found out they have a 7-passenger Atlas, where this is just a 5-passenger Atlas. But yeah, man, like I said, this thing has a lot of space. Like, the fact that I can sit back here and stretch out, like, even when I slouch down, my knees still barely touch the back of this. Being a big man like myself, little stuff like that, I get impressed by. And as far as space goes, yeah, this vehicle actually has a lot of space for the passengers. I mean, especially at least you could definitely fit 4 people my size in this vehicle. Very comfortable. So let's go and check out the trunk. Very easy to step in and step out. Since it's a little bit lower, you do kind of watch your head. At least a person like me, I have to watch my head a little bit. But definitely easy to get in and out this vehicle. Like, no problems at all. And so I forgot I had the lights on. But as you can see, yeah, like I say, even this emblem back here lights up at night. This is the rear end of it. And I love being from North Carolina for the weekend. Button under there. And man, oh man, one other thing I'll say that makes me personally like this vehicle is the amount of trunk space. Now, forgive me, because I kind of put a lot of junk back here and a lot of stuff. I've been busy this weekend, but this thing definitely has a lot of space. I almost feel like my whole body could fit back here. So in case, never mind, let me not say that. I'm not gonna put that out in the atmosphere. But let's just say you're a person who traffics human beings. No, I'm joking. I didn't mean to say that. But it does have a lot of space. With maybe 4, even 5 people, it'll definitely be enough space for all your baggage. The whole back end lifts up, so it definitely gives you easy access. I can actually stand under this. This thing lifts up pretty high, and you can see I'm 6'2", and I can easily stand under this, which is kind of cool. Actually, what's funny, as I'm recording this, I'm looking at the clouds. And yeah, I mean, it's almost sunset here, so I'm trying to get this video in real quick before I lose all sunlight. A lot of vehicles I rent, you usually can open and shut the trunk from the inside or from the key. But for some odd reason with this vehicle, when you open the trunk, you literally have to come back in and push this button to close it. So I thought that was kind of weird and kind of interesting. But, and a part of me feels like it's a little bit annoying, but I realize even in my car, if I mistakenly open the trunk, I literally have to get out the car to shut the trunk. Like, it's not fancy enough to shut back on its own. So I guess that's fine. Just don't make the mistake of opening the trunk, because you're gonna have to get out and close it yourself. As far as gas goes, I heard somebody once claim that Volkswagens burn a lot of gas, but I didn't have that issue with this vehicle. Like, I drove over to Tampa this weekend Where else did I go? I went somewhere else, and it didn't burn as much gas as I thought it would. But I was nervous at first because I heard a lot of people say it burns a lot of gas. And even to fill this thing up, I have a Chrysler 300, and it takes the same amount of gas to fill up this truck as it does my Chrysler 300. So overall, I say it was a very nice vehicle. I actually enjoyed it more than I thought. I do feel like if I ever rent a vehicle again and I realize they have these available, I'll take this over like a Ford Explorer or something like that. It would be interesting to see how much more space the 7-passenger one has versus this 5-passenger. I just want to, as usual, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. I ask that you please constantly like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Please share the stuff if you can, because that YouTube algorithm is once again changing. And I know this isn't my normal content, but I tell people all the time, the reason I do these car reviews is because first, I enjoy it. Secondly, I am always trying to get used to being on this side of the camera, you know, and just kind of talking to the people, you know, and letting people kind of see the man behind the camera. I'm trying to think, did I say this? Another thing I say about this vehicle is it actually got a lot of pep to it, because I think it is the sport edition. So this one actually, man, like, I'm not going to say what I want to say, but I will say it can get up and go. Like getting in and out of traffic, getting in front of people, getting on and in, off and on exits, very, very simple. But yeah, this vehicle definitely had a lot of pep to it. Have a vehicle out there that you would like Cousin Truck to review, definitely hit me up. I would definitely need to keep the vehicle for like a weekend to really do a good review on it. So make sure you got full coverage insurance just in case somebody runs a traffic signal and crashes into me and your vehicle, you know, so that won't be a problem. And as I said before, I just thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for checking out the videos, and I'll hit you the next time. Peace. Let's record it.
You do it. You're the one who about to do it.
You were the one who asked me to record you. Know what you got to say?
Why you putting that so close? You said subscribe, leave a like, and share the video.
All right.